So right now in 2024, I think Bitensor or Render or ASI or erstwhile Fetch, Singularity, and all these folks, they've done a great job to actually make a big project on the AI narrative scene here. And obviously you would. There's a lot of hype projects as well. Let us be very honest. In Web3, whatever happens in the real world, the hype projects get created in a flash, and sometimes they get rug pulled, sometimes they come up with cheap ass products that are not usable by anyone. But there are some really, really good players in the game as well. And the entire AI game, not just the Web3 AI game, but the entire AI game, I think this is for a very long run. We have only been, 2.5, 3 years into Dolly and ChatGPT and all these products. But this is a long-term game. I think in the future, in the next 10 years at least, AI will eventually be the most, coveted? Coveted is the right word here. Most coveted industry. NVIDIA being for a while, the largest company in the world, clearly shows where we are going. And right? So I don't think this is the bubble like in 99 or 2000 when the .com crash happened, or as we discussed, the metaverse bubble in 2022. I don't think these are equivalent here. This is a very different world that we are living in right now. And AI, in fact, is a very different technology that we have had at our disposal in the last 2 years. But again, the thing is with Web3, the entire industry needs to be more accessible. The entire industry needs to be more in the hands of people who are not into crypto. That is a very important thing. And until and unless we have a dozen products, and I'm saying a dozen here, which is also a small number in my opinion, but until and unless we have a dozen products which the non-crypto folks use without realizing this is a crypto or a Web3 product, I don't see any industry other than the RWAs are a very crypto industry, right? They're literally tokenizing things. But AI is not a crypto industry. AI is a generic industry which has a sub-branch into the Web3 world, right? So we need at least a dozen products that people use, whether it be AI or not. And only then we can expect our Web3 products to get into the hands of users in everyday life. Otherwise, it will be just the Web3 folks building for ourselves, using things amongst ourselves, taking the price up and down amongst ourselves, and that will be it.
But do you genuinely think people are, working on those 10, 12 products at this point? I mean, there are a couple, maybe 3 or maybe 4, who are up there. The market cap is actually a good representation of how well they have been taken by the community. But then I feel most of the projects, they try and do the same thing which another project is doing, but, with a different name, with a different vibe, with a different theme and stuff like that. Does that help in any way? I mean, of course, competition is always good, but then I feel we have to have more of such companies or more of such projects doing different things, solving different problems. Like, for example, there are many, what do we call it? Neuromorphic computing. Like I've seen 2 of them. So that's a whole different ballgame, right? But then coming back to AI and like where there's an intersection of DeepIn and AI where you share your compute path. Like I've seen like 20, 25, 30 products which do the exact same thing. So is that helping in some way? Because obviously there are very less people into the scene right now. And then you are, segregating them into 30 different products. So rather, I don't know like how to explain it, but then I feel there are less people, there are less users, and there are more, these products who are trying to just get into the hype. See, people are actually using it as a hype train. What I feel is that the people building, most of them. So I don't think so. Till that's not solved, that problem is not solved, or else the good guys are not building at such a great level that they, outshine everything, and like people are very much aware about the fact, because people are not aware which product is the better one right now, so it's such a close call.
So yeah, when we talk about this is relevant for any industry, right? If you're living in a town, there are 30 different restaurants, let's say Chinese restaurants for that matter. They're competing in the same industry, they're competing for the same set of users, correct? So I think this is relevant for not just the Chinese restaurant was just an analogy. What about Yahoo and Google? right? They competed for the same set of users, the same set of people searching, and eventually what happened? One of them had to win, and one of them won. This part of your statement is something that bothers me every single day. That is the statement and the quote that goes that crypto is a solution to a problem that does not exist. We've all gone through this statement, right? And as you mentioned, decentralized computing, sharing your compute power, put your computer to use, or all these things. And there are 30 different projects doing this. That is also true. But the fact of the matter is that we do not know what is good, what is bad. Even with the large scale products, the L1s, which were the first to come from the industry, like Ethereum, EOS, now we have Solanas and Polkadots and Suis and whatnot. The same question stands. Why so many L1s? Okay, some of them are fast. Each of them has the same set of, if you open any website, each of them will claim the same things, just like those toothpaste brands do, that prescribed by 99% of the dentists.
But then, what I feel, the top 10 of them, if you take the layer ones and you just see the top 10 of them, there are, multiple apps which are built on them. There are users, there are applications that have been built on them. But when you come back with the sharing compute power thing, I don't think like the top 10, even has that many users.
See, if you see, even in the L1s, you're saying there are multiple dApps built on them. How many dApps that are built on these L1s do you think our non-crypto friends use?
No, that wasn't my point actually. But
that's the same thing. You're building dApps, you're building ecosystems on your own. Solana is saying we are building an ecosystem. Ethereum claims we are building an ecosystem.
What I feel is that the N1 race is a long-term race. It's not the short-term thing. But here, what I feel, the analogy that you gave of Chinese restaurants, what I feel is that these people are aware about the fact that for now, there are very less people who are buying stuff. But still, we're going to increase the supply, even though the demand is down. But then they're aware about the fact then that there will be a time where there'll be a massive rush here, which we term as alt season, right? For that, they're building shit, noodles. They're not even working on their noodles, man. They're just there.
I understand that. And I think this is a very big thing whenever I judge at least a project which is into these so-called quote-unquote hype narratives. And this is a great point you brought up. L1 is a long-term race. And the projects who are running that race, they're also aware of the fact that this is a long-term race. Whereas this race of AI compute power, there are a lot of, as I mentioned before, there are a lot of projects who will just jump on the hype bandwagon and they'll get off as soon as their price pumps up. We both know that this is going to happen. And even for projects that we are into, we don't know them, right? Of course, we know the people, but what happens if they just claim that, okay, our product lost? And this has happened in the industry before. You can't blame anyone for that. But eventually, what will happen is that a single or maybe 3 or 4 products out of these will be remaining in the next bull run. This will happen. When it comes to decentralized compute sharing or all these things, I don't think all of them are going to survive the next bear run. And that is why one of the major factors that I look into when I look into the projects surrounding these hype narratives is how long have they been in the space. So I'll just give an example. Nuko Cloud, for example, right, has been in the space since 2018. They've been building for the last 6 years. In 2018, maybe they pivoted in before. I'm not very sure of it. But still, they've been in the industry for 6 years. They've seen two and a half different cycles of the bull bear run. And they're still building. They're still working on their products. They're still releasing products. So we know for a fact that it is very difficult for a product that has been in the industry for 6 years to just vanish when the hype train goes up, right?